SaaSification is taking an application that a customer typically would be running on-prem. Maybe you write the software and then you distribute it to multiple customers for them to run it in their own data center. What it is taking that and SaaSifying it. It's putting it in the cloud and running it for your customer. So you're now in charge of the whole thing. So what a SaaS model allows you to do is it allows you to offer your customers something that is going to be highly available, highly scalable, especially when you're building it yourself with Amazon services. Multi-tenancy is when you have multiple customers sharing the same resources. So in the same way that you would use EC2 and Amazon and other customers are using potentially the same hosts, this allows you to build an application that can then share resources across multiple customers. If a customer is adopting a SaaS model and they want to build a new SaaS application, a few of the things that we've seen work really well are making sure you keep your initial feature set small, making sure you're working towards an MVP and not trying to eat the whole elephant, eat it one chunk at a time. Making use of Amazon native services, Amazon serverless, all of those things that allow you to kind of scale your app almost without having to worry about it and really focus on that business logic are going to allow you to build something and put it to market faster.
So one of the biggest benefits of cloud to SaaSifying applications tends to be the ability to scale, but also the ability to to reduce the blast radius. So you can think about it in two ways, right? If you've got an application that's built to scale, it's not going to matter if one particular tenant is having a great day and using a ton of the application resources, because that scale out capability means that everybody still gets their fair share or gets their expected performance from the application. The other piece of that is just the ability to provision as many or as few silos as you want. So a lot of the components in AWS will scale vertically, so you can fit more tenants into a particular unit of work or to a particular provision cluster, however you might like. But also scale horizontally so that you can maybe regionally deploy the application in sort of the same way across different time zones or across different continents. Those attributes all help to turn something from single tenant product into a multi-tenant SaaS application. So one of the most common challenges we see with customers trying to SaaSify, so to speak, their applications is to take the application as is and stamp out multiple copies of it. That's fine, especially with automation. There's some that mitigates some of the sort of operational overhead there, but at some point it becomes either a cost challenge, operational challenge, or both for those applications. So one of the things we advise customers up front is to think about expending the engineering effort to pay down some of that legacy technical debt that may exist in the application, but also invest in modernization so that we're running multi-tenant and we're making use of shared data stores and those kinds of things where possible, so that you don't get into an operational nightmare as the application, as the product becomes popular. You don't want to be surprised with the sort of a bottleneck in the ability to adopt to customer demand. One of the funny buzzwords we're hearing today is SaaSification of applications, and what that's talking about is turning something that's traditionally either a single tenant application or something that maybe was run as a service into a software as a service. So adopting the model that Salesforce has pioneered and other companies like that. What tends to be involved there for customers, a lot of times these applications were not built with multiple tenants in mind. So everything is maybe to scale out to more customers is a cookie cutter of the application. And what we see there is that without extensive automation, that doesn't tend to scale, that doesn't tend to be a successful business model. The more successful software as a service applications have tended to be consolidated into multi-tenant applications with consideration for sort of tenants that are maybe noisy neighbors or security. There's a lot of things that go into considerations from turning something that's a traditional software product into a SaaS product. The biggest among those being data segmentation and workload segmentation.